the Capitol building is usually as proud a place as exists in America. It is where Franklin Roosevelt steadied a nation crippled by the Depression.
The only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Ask not what your country can do for you.
And where John F. Kennedy called the country to service. Anyone who has walked through it, be it on a school trip or a family vacation, can feel the Capitol's power. It is palpable. To know that the nation's business is carried on there makes your heart skip a beat or two. Through times of peace and times of conflict, through times of want and times of plenty, most of us have believed or wanted to believe that the Capitol was a place where the people's business was conducted. We the people's business. Throughout our history, representatives came from every corner of the country. And as the country grew, so too did the House and Senate. It grew to look more and more like we do. A place where men and women would come to work as equals, where color and origin was no barrier. I have sat in the House chamber for a State of the Union address. I remember looking around the room, from the Supreme Court to the Joint Chiefs, the Cabinet, members of the House and Senate, the robust cheers, the stony silence, a beautifully imperfect mix. The founders conjured all this up, and while it sure was more diverse by gender and race than they ever imagined, it was their idea, the American idea. I have stood in line twice at the Capitol to pay respects to presidents who passed. Both times were the same. You'd expect, I guess, the crowd to be dominated by the party faithful, but it wasn't like that. Whatever our differences, in the moment, unimportant.
God bless America.
Like Republicans and Democrats lifting their voices together after 9/11. Our most imperfect union suffered a jolt yesterday. A simple procedural step in the peaceful transition of power was crashed by an angry mob. It was as disturbing as it was heartbreaking. It was, quite frankly, un-American. Most of us, I reckon, still believe in our ability to govern ourselves, to abide by the will of our fellow citizens. Many have sacrificed much, and some have sacrificed all to ensure those rights. So it was with no small degree of pride and relief that the House and Senate went back to work last night.
We settle our differences not with mob rule. We settle our differences through elections.
Doing the people's business, a polite but unambiguous repudiation to those who would wish otherwise. The Republic still stands.
And we pray that it remains indivisible. We were listening to Stephanie's piece, and she was talking about how fractured the country is. And I kept thinking, we've withstood so much over all these decades and centuries. But in the end of the day, we are not invulnerable. And it behooves all of us, I think, to remain diligent and to remain respectful.
Wow, that was beautiful. Harry, we're bringing in Chuck and Andrea. Harry, I just want to ask you something, though. Do you think that this is a little bit like how the country came together after 9/11? Do you think that in some strange way, this will actually be something that brings us together?
Wouldn't that be something? You know, I don't know. I don't really know the answer to that. And the optimist in me, the we hope eternal optimist in me would say, yeah, oh, great. Wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't it be amazing at the inauguration to see people say, you know what, we're all in this together?
Well, let me ask Chuck, because I'm not going to say he's a pessimist, but maybe he's been around Washington too long, so he's not an eternal optimist. But you are someone who loves this place and loves our institutions and loves our democracy. And I mean, for a moment, when the lawmakers came back and said, all of them, to a man and a woman, we're going to do our duty. We will not be intimidated. Vice President Pence said, we will not be intimidated. There was a glimmer of hope of a turning point.
You hope the weight of yesterday is still on the shoulders of those people, though, today and tomorrow. I mean, look, there are a lot of people saying some of the right things, particularly on the right today, who realize, wait a minute, something's amiss here. You know, that this is, whether it's the misinformation, feeding the lies that created this situation. But I fear, and I think that's why Harry hesitated when he said how optimistic. I fear that you and I discussed this. Like, think about, this is it. This is the moment they're going to hold Trump accountable. We thought it when he insulted John McCain. We thought it after Charlottesville. We thought it, with Ukraine, and it didn't happen. So we think, oh, maybe it's this moment. But political expediency always seems to trump these moments when we can be there. So I'm call me cautiously pessimistic long term. I am somewhat optimistic short term. I think a lot of Republican senators in particular are going to try to look like they want to work with Joe Biden for a while, which might be a nice balm.
Well, Andrea Mitchell has been around even longer than you have, Chuck. Andrea, I'm just curious your perspective on this. How do you see things going forward?
I agree with Chuck that I think there may be some short-term effort from Republicans in the Senate to try to reach across the aisle. They know how badly they've performed for the last 4 years or longer. But that said, I think with social media and the poison that's in the air and the atmosphere, that people's minds have been so warped by the lies that have been told, frankly, and the conspiracy theories. I don't know how you get around that and fix that unless you have an extraordinary outpouring of leadership and truth-telling. But when you interview people who are the true believers, they are following these lies, and they still believe the election was stolen. And how do you build legitimacy?
Well, that's the question, Chuck. I mean, as I turn to you, if you are fed a series of lies and misinformation that comes in the package where it seems true, and what you're watching on television reaffirms that, and what you're hearing from a president that you support reaffirms that, you think everyone else is crazy. I mean, how do you change this dynamic? It's kind of a cliche at this point. You're entitled to your own opinion, not entitled to your own facts. But we're, unfortunately, in our politics, not operating from the same shared set of facts. This
is the core problem. Like we're going to all ask this question: how did this happen? How did we get here? This is the core issue. We have a media ecosystem, an information ecosystem. The social media allows you to just do what you just talked about, silo it up. And so we have, maybe it'll be a reckoning. The elected leadership in this country has to tell the truth. Pure and simple. They're lying. They want to lie, or they want to attack us in the press in order to deflect a bad question. And all of that does is feed this anger and this belief that we're the misinformation to this 30%. I mean, the elected leadership in this country has to start telling the truth, and we have to figure out how to hold them accountable for it.
That was something that Mitt Romney expressed last night on the floor. Yeah. I think Harry's got something to say. We always love to end on Harry. What you got, Harry?
Well, it's interesting because I spend a lot of my time traveling across the country. I've reported from every single state in this union and all the continents on the planet. And on a day-by-day basis, most of the people in the country are not watching the news 24/7. They're not horribly absorbed by what is on this side or what's on that side, or how the fabric of the country is being torn to smithereens. They're worried about their day-to-day lives. And you know what, quite frankly, I really do believe there is more that unites us than divides us.
Yeah, but you know what, Harry, I agree with that wholeheartedly. But the good-hearted folks who are just living their lives, they need to turn their attention to our democracy, because I think that's what, it's the famous, the founders after the Constitutional Convention coming out and saying, what did you vote? What kind of government are we going to have? And it's a democracy, a republic, if you can keep it. And I think that's what we saw simultaneously yesterday, the fragility and the strength. So, good-hearted people, good people of good faith, just need to come together and support this country that we all love, and we do all love it.
That was the perfect period on that discussion, Savannah. Harry, Chuck, Andrea, thank you guys. We're going to be back in just a moment, but first, this is Today on NBC.